So, sir, you are a TEDx speaker, you are an angel investor, you are a business leader with 20 plus years of experience, and you worked in companies like Microsoft, LinkedIn, Intel, and Wipro. And the most exciting bit about you is that you're also a half Ironman. Hi, Hetal, sir. Welcome to Melt Your Cheese, the fitness podcast.
Thanks a lot for that kind introduction. It's slightly incomplete. The most exciting thing about me is not that I've done a half Ironman, but the most exciting thing is that I have registered for a full Ironman for the last 2 years, and I've been postponing it because of COVID, and I hope to do it in 2022. And the other exciting thing which you missed out on is the book right here. So I'm a published author. So apart from all the things I've done, I've been able to find time to publish a book. So Against All Odds is my dad's biography. I wrote it starting in June 2019, and I completed it in August last year. It got released, published by Rupa, and it's doing exceedingly well on Amazon and other platforms. But yes, I think, fitness, running has an integral role to play in my life. And I'm always excited whenever I get a chance to speak about it, not because I want to boast about myself, but I believe that fitness and running does not get the priority in our daily lives the way it should. I myself am been a culprit of that. I was not running till I turned 40. I don't know, something happened, something magic about the age 40 that I suddenly took up running. And then since then, I've done 18 half marathons and 13 full marathons since then, one 50K ultra and one half Ironman. I did the Everest Base Camp trek as well. So that's to bring in additional variety. And if you might be noticing a trend in my running circuit, it's very synergistic or similar to what many people go through. 3-4 years of running, and if you don't vary yourself into something like cycling or swimming or hiking or trekking, it does get boring, right?
Yeah.
I found running boring at some point of time, and I decided that I want to take the control of what I do. So I moved out of a group very early on. So I started running about in October 2013. Within 5 weeks of 5 weekends, I ran the first half marathon. I ran the ADHM. It was a spur of the moment suggestion from a friend at a party. Hey, there's an event happening in Delhi, and why don't you sign up? And I just signed up. And 5 weekends, 5K, 10K, 14K, 17K, and I went to the event in middle of October, and I did the first half marathon non-stop in 2 hours, 22 minutes. And I thought I did a great job, though I know the timing was pretty ordinary from an overall half marathon timing perspective. But I never looked back since then. I've been constantly improving my timing. My latest record was 1:48, which I clocked in the virtual half marathon of ADHM in November 2020. Last year it didn't happen. Done multiple full marathons. So I think, you start with a small 1K, 2K, 5K. Your 10K seems like an initial benchmark to go after, and then you go after half marathon. Typically, people do half marathons for about 2-3 years before they migrate to full, and that's what I did. I waited for a couple of years, built up my stamina, built up my endurance levels to reach a half, and then migrate to full. A lot of people do that a bit early as well. A lot of people are never able to do that because full marathon is not double of a half. A full marathon is probably 3 or 4 times the quantum of energy you need for a half marathon, and it's serious sport, right? It's exactly the same as a 9-hole golf course and 18-hole golf course. A 9-hole you could do in a couple of hours, come back home, your family would not have missed you for breakfast. You would be having breakfast with family. But it's an 18-hole course. You're coming back at 10:30, you're dead tired. You don't want to look at your wife. You don't want to play with your kids. You just want to go and relax after that. So exactly a full marathon is like that. So I've been trying to build my level of endurance for my full marathon. And that's the number one preparation which is pending as far as my full Ironman is concerned. I'm not as bothered about 3.8 kilometers of swimming and 180 kilometers cycling as I'm bothered about the 42-kilometer run, which I need to, at the end of both these activities, to do a full Ironman in a very decent timing of 15 and a half, 16 hours. Of the overall limit of 17 hours. So that's broadly speaking, the way my trajectory in running and endurance has been. The reason I'm very passionate and I love to talk about is because running has been transformational, not from a physical aspect alone, running has helped me mentally. My majority of my ideas for my blogs and writing posts happen while I'm running. Almost every long run, I've had at least one idea for a blog post, and I've come back and created a 1500 word blog post. Random topics. An interesting bit here is I've till end of last year, almost every run of mine was accompanied by either my music playlist or my audiobooks. I'm a voracious reader. I don't know if you captured that.
Yes.
Those are just a few pending books. I've been reading 100 books every year for the last 4 years. This is going to be 5th year in running. And I can swear by it. I mean, my reading has improved because of my running. And you'll laugh at me and say, how? And the secret sauce here is audiobooks. So I listen to audiobooks while I'm running, while I'm walking, when I'm doing brisk walking, when I'm doing leisure walking, my books are on. So running allowed me to spare so much time towards my audiobooks and my running work. And of course, what I'm listening to, again, is contributing towards improving my runs, right? I'm reading about running memoirs. I'm reading about good running techniques. I'm reading the Murakami book. I'm reading the lore of running, different books I'm reading, which is, it's a cyclical process, right? The more you hear good things about running, the more you want to run better. And what better to be doing it while you're listening to it, right? You're implementing it as you're learning it, right? So yeah, I'm sorry I go overboard. So you need to put a timer here and say, hey, stop, otherwise I can go on and on. You'll probably not come to your next question.
No, definitely. That's because I think you kind of answered my second question, where I wanted to ask you that what is the role of running, essentially fitness and running in your daily life? You said that it helps you with your ideas, your blog ideas, your writing ideas, right? But apart from that, does it contribute anything more in your life, that running you do in your daily life, in your weekly schedule?
Sure. See, some basic facts I don't need to repeat, right? I mean, running helps you to create dopamine, which increases positivity and is a source of happiness, right? Your blood flow increases, your heart is pumping more blood, you're feeling more energetic, you're feeling more alive, and that positivity carries on to the rest of the activity. That's number one. Number two is that, look, humans were born runners, right? The prehistoric Homo sapiens had to hunt for food. So either you had to hunt for food for yourself or avoid being a hunt by someone else, right? So you are running all the time. So running is more natural to human beings than walking. It's just that over a period of time, with the revolution, with the invention of the wheel, communication, mobility has come in. We don't need to run as often as our ancestors used to. But that's the most natural activity. That's the most natural physical activity one can ever perform. You don't need anything. You don't even need shoes. If you're a Millennium woman, you don't even need to wear any clothes. And you can run on the beach as well. I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple, right? You just get up and run. Now, a bulk of people don't do it for two reasons. They don't have the energy. They don't have the stamina, energy/stamina. They don't have the motivation, and they don't have the time. And trust me, all three are crap. And they're all three interrelated. If you have the motivation, you will find the stamina and you will find the time.
Yeah.
And motivation comes from mind, and your mind is not set. And it's all starts at the head and goes to your legs. The moment your mind is ready, even a double amputee can do a marathon. So who are you to complain about not having stamina or anything like that? So it is fundamental. It's something which is as fundamental as eating your meal every day. Yeah.
I think to add to your point, I read enough experience that you talk about motivation. So motivation may help you get started in your running journey, in your cycling journey, or even your life. But discipline is something that carries you forward. And also, I'm reading a book called Atomic Habits, where he talks about
one of my favorites.
Creating habits. So that two important things apart from motivation, which is the first thing is discipline and creating that habit structure in your life. It'll eventually help you get kick-started with your running journey or your endurance sport journey. Now, tell me one thing, sir. Has running ever helped you make better decisions or be a better leader as well? in your daily life, in the day-to-day things you conduct or the corporate life you've led till now, has running endurance sport helped you in that way ever? Better decisions and leadership?
It's a very interesting question because I'm currently conceptualizing article which hopefully will become a TEDx talk. Life is a marathon. So I'm visualizing how my life could be structured like a full marathon. Obviously,
Wow.
the preparation of the marathon is what my parents do before my birth. But right from day zero, right, the enthusiasm and the energy with which a baby is born is very synergistic to the first couple of kilometers of a full marathon. And the last 5-7 kilometers, typically called the quote unquote, when you hit the wall, the struggle is your old age. And in between is the beauty called life. And the way you structure those 5 kilometer to 30 kilometer mark defines your ability to survive the last 7 kilometers, and whether it's going to be a sub 4 or it's going to be a sub 6, right? And that's where you typically the bulk of people fall in, right? The really good athletes will easily touch a sub 4. I'm almost there, so I'm not good as yet. And the really laggards will struggle to reach a sub 6. Anyone beyond 6 should not be running a full marathon at all. They're better off sitting at home or being happy with a half marathon, with no offense meant here, right? So that's the way it is. Now, when it comes to implementing in daily life, yes. How do I conserve my energy? How do I ensure that I eat right on the previous night? What I'm going to eat before the run? What I'm going to consume during the run? I'm gonna carry ordinary water. I'm gonna carry electrolyte. Am I gonna stop at the refreshment stalls for a sip of water? Am I gonna run in a group? Am I gonna listen to something? See, all these aspects require man management, and man management is the precedence to people management. If I'm able to manage myself accurately to the dot, that if I have predicted in my application form for a marathon that my time is going to be 4:55, and if I'm ending at 4:50 to 4:55, it goes to show how much of accurate planning that I did to reach there. Now, yes, my previous run was almost there, and it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But to be able to plan the entire 4.5 or 5 hours of running helps me to be able to plan my day activity. Whether I need to spend an hour in the meeting, or whether I need 45 minutes to reach the place, whether I need to assign the task to 3 people, whether this person can do it, whether he has the endurance and the capability to do it, whether he's bold enough or not. All these judgments of other people, I'm able to make much better because I can judge myself much better. And obviously, the entire running community, we are a bunch of idiots. We are a bunch of mad people, right? We take up mad goals and crack them like nobody's ever done that before, right? You should see the smile on the face of a runner when he finishes the marathon.
Yeah.
He might be rank number 845, but the look on his face would show him as if he's won the gold medal in Olympics. and the fun is the joy is no less. Trust me, it's no less. I don't know how it feels like to be an Olympic gold medalist. Neeraj Chopra knows it, but I can visualize that the quantum of happiness which you generate when you completed a 42-kilometer run almost at the expected time. Sometimes even a worse time. I mean, my full marathon in 2018 was a disaster. I had big plans, and I had cramps at 7-kilometer mark. I had ditched my running buddy. I was limping all the way. I finished in about 4 hours 45 minutes when it should have been 4 hours 5 minutes, and yet I was happy. Yet I was happy that I actually finished it. When everything was saying that I should have been a DNF, I should have stepped out of the race. It's foolish you might injure yourself forever. All these things go in mind. So there are several nuggets which get implemented into day-to-day life: time management, resource management, self-management, planning, team building, motivating, entertainment. How I'm going to keep myself happy? How I'm going to keep myself cheerful? If you run with me on any of the major runs, you might have heard me sloganeering Jai Mata Di and Bharat Mata Ki Jai once in a while. I don't do it for the nation. I do it for myself.
Yeah.
screaming at top of my voice when I'm at the 34-kilometer mark in ADHM, when I'm passing India Gate, is for me, not for the others. But what it does to me does much more than what it does to the others, because it rejuvenates me and it says, no, there's much more to do, and just get going. Yeah. So I hope I was able to address your point.
Absolutely. A natural question from this last question is, since you are making better decisions because of running, long distance running and marathons, has running helped you become more successful in the last 8 years, say, since you started doing this long distance running?
See, Divyansh, success is a relative thing, right? I don't treat myself as a success at all. I would always prefer to be an understudy. I would always prefer to be a learner. But if I have to say that the definition of success is to achieve what you wanted to be better than what you hoped to, then yes, the answer is yes. I've had success in almost every activity, and I would attribute a good amount of that to my running, because the positivity which you carry at the end of the day gives you that sense of self-confidence that you put in better effort in everything, right? You think better as far as what food you're eating. You're more conscious about how you're talking. You're more positive when you're talking to someone. You have more suggestions to give to someone because you have learned those things yourself. You want to live an inclusive life. मुझे ये भी करना है, मुझे वो भी करना है, मैं इसको भी मना नहीं करूंगा, मैं उसको भी मना नहीं करूंगा, ट्राई तो करते हैं ना, नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा, एटलीस्ट ट्राई तो किया, right? So that positivity is more important than whether I achieve the success or not.
Yeah.
Positivity is in my hands. To look at an activity or an event and say I can do it is in my control. Whether I will be able to do it or not, there are a multitude of different factors which come in.
Correct.
And they're beyond your control. So I would probably say it that way, that it does help from a positivity perspective. Success, ho na ho, that's a different story altogether.
Yeah. I think one thing I can add over here is that we generally say you should enjoy the process rather than just the goal or the destination of,
oh yeah,
of
beauty
anything.
lies in the journey. Beauty lies in the journey, not in the destination.
So if you enjoy your running journey, the running process, essentially, I'm just connecting the two things. If you enjoy the running process, you may just enjoy doing things where it eventually leads you to your own level of success. What you just said, right?
True. Yeah.
So on that note, sir, tell me one thing. So you've registered for a full Ironman, right? You're preparing for it for a couple of years now, more than that. So what is the process of becoming an Ironman? So we have seen videos, but from a personal perspective, what is the process of becoming an Ironman? And, what is the experience of the half Ironman which you were a part of the event?
My first half Ironman was a total fluke. Yet the half Ironman journey which I went through was a very interesting episode which I would love to talk to you about. The reason I call it a fluke is I signed up in November 2017. My memory is failing me now. Yeah, November 2017 I signed up, and February 2018 is when I did it, right? So 3 months typically is not what you take for a preparation for an half Ironman. And preparation bhi kya thi, right? I mean, mid-November, I was told that this event is happening called half Ironman. I didn't even know what was Ironman at that time.
Yeah.
It was happening in Delhi. I lived in Gurgaon. It was happening in Delhi. And it was the swim part was supposed to happen in the Talkatora Stadium. Like, okay, kar lete. Fully working lifetime, so 9 to 5. So the only time you had to practice was in the weekends, and I didn't get much time in December. It's freaking cold in Gurgaon. So yeah, I was doing my running practice for the full marathon in Mumbai, which was scheduled on 18th of Jan, and I was like, full marathon kara hoga to half Ironman to ho hi jayega. Running mein to problem hai nahi. Swimming is something which I've been technically doing since age 6. I was 6 years old when I jumped into the pool first time. Not I've been constantly swimming, but that childhood swimming stays with you for a very long time. So I've always been an endurance swimmer, right? I can swim for a very long time. My pace is pathetic. My daughter beats me fair and square ever since she picked up swimming. But I can do endurance, and endurance is more important in Ironman than space. because overall the timing for all the three activities is decent enough that you can complete in time. Look, I'm not running after a 9-hour timing in my full Ironman. I'm as I told you, 15, 15 and a half and 16 or 16 and a half at most. I'm going to be happy. So from that perspective, endurance wise, swimming was not a problem. Cycling, I had not done long distance cycling, so I was like, yeah, cycling ko sort out karna padega. So 18th of Jan I did my full marathon in Mumbai, came back to Gurgaon. 26th of January, so there was I actually went to check out. I didn't even have a bike, so I went to a bike rental place and I was saying, like, I need a bike coming weekend. Said, why don't you bike with us? We are doing a 100k ride. मैंने कहा बड़ा सही है यार. I need to do 90k in the half Ironman. आप 100k करा रहे हो तो मेरा one shot में मेरी biking की readiness हो जाएगी. I had not gone beyond 20 kilometers of cycling ever in my life before that, mind you. Since I didn't have a bike, there was no motivation to really go long distance and rent a bike anymore. I picked up the bike, went with them, a beautiful gang of people. We went to Rao Dhaba on the Jaipur-Delhi highway, which was about 50 kilometers away from Gurgaon. Went there, had parathas, came back, 50 kilometers going, 50 kilometers coming. It took us about 5.5-6 hours, which was slightly about time, but including the wait time as well. So I was like, chalo, 26 January ho gayi hai, 100 kilometer ho gaya hai, half marathon is not a problem, jara swimming पे थोड़ा ध्यान देते हैं. अब ये विंटर का महीना, विंटर में pools बंद होते हैं गुड़गांव में. Then I got to know there is one new pool which is being opened up. There was a new startup called Fitso which had arranged for a pool in one of the schools in Gurgaon, and they said, we just opened this pool. मैंने यार मुझे प्रैक्टिस करनी है, तो सुबह 6 से 8 के बीच में आई. ये क्या टाइम हुआ है? Please have pity on me. At 6 o'clock, it's 6 degrees in Gurgaon. It's not the right time. Even if you're going to provide me a heated pool, मैं उठूंगा कैसे? I mean, like, how do I motivate myself to go and swim at that time? तो कहते हैं सर, this is the only option. वो 8 बजे के बाद, we have regular school thing and all. We can't allow you to come in. तो मैं उठा 5 बजे, 5:30 तक ready हुआ, took out my car and went to the school. At 5:45, I reached the place. पानी को टच किया, वो ठंडा तो नहीं, वो गर्म तो डेफिनेटली नहीं था, ठंडा भी नहीं था. चलो ठीक है, वो थोड़ी देर लगेगी उसको गर्म होने में. कपड़े चेंज किया, I just jumped into the pool. It was freakingly cold. Oh. And like, अरे यार अब क्या करें? But typically happens once you get into the pool. Very rarely you would get out and say, ठंडा है, हम तो घर जा रहे हैं. बच्चे करते हैं, हम लोग तो we are old people now. So I said, चलो लैप मार लेते हैं. पूरा pool सुनसान. There was no attendant, nobody was there. The guard had just got me in कि वहाँ पे pool है. जो करना है कर लो, आप चुपचाप करके निकल जाओ. हमें डिस्टर्ब मत करो. हमें सोना है अभी, हमारी नींद पूरी करनी. 1 लैप 2 लैप 50 लैप करने थे. मैंने 40 लैप हो गए. उसके बाद मैं देखा पब्लिक घूम रही है आसपास. कुछ लोग फोटो ले रहे थे. It was the pool was newly opened. यार ये पहला बकरा है, इसके फोटो ले लो हमारे. देखो फिट्सो में there are members coming and actually using the pool, right? Correct. तो pool से निकला, मैंने कहा यार अब तो लैप हो गए, ठंड लग रही थी. तो मैं गया, चेंज किया. So I dried myself. There was no way I was going to take a shower. I planned to do a swimming plus cycling combo. ठंड इतनी लग रही, मैंने यार ये साइकिलिंग वाइकलिंग जान दे, चुपचाप घर जाते हैं, सो जाते हैं. स्विमिंग हो गई है. We'll think about the duathlon later on. So this is 2nd of Feb, the next weekend after 26 Jan. तो कपड़े पहन लिए, ड्राई कर लिया, socks पहन लिए, and I was wearing slippers. Slippers were wet. So I wore my socks and wore my slippers. My feet were wet for 15 minutes. I drove from the school to my house. My feet were wet. I went to sleep. Woke up at around 9:30. चाय वाय पी. थोड़ा drowsy feel हो रहा था. उस दिन शाम को मुझे बुखार आ गया. And then next day morning, the subsequent day, I had woke up with bad cough. Trust me, Divyansh, this is 3rd of Feb. That cough lasted me 2.5 months. मैंने जिंदगी में cumulative उतना cough नहीं होगा जितना वो 2.5 months हुआ है. तो 2.5 months तो खैर आगे की बात है. वो मतलब मेरी 18 Feb को तो मेरा half Ironman था. तो अब यार करें क्या मतलब? And with fever and cough, you get weakness, right? Your tenacity to do physical exercise is completely gone. मतलब ये बच्चे आपको allow भी करें तो आपकी body कैसे allow करें, right? Right. So I took it easy for a few days. Then the subsequent weekend, which was I think 7th or 8th of Feb, 8th or 9th of Feb, I had again planned a duathlon of swimming plus cycling. मेरा swimming तो भैया सवाल ही नहीं है. Cycling वाला कर लेते हैं. तो 60 किलोमीटर की साइकिलिंग के लिए मैंने 2 फ्रेंड्स को रेडी किया, दोनों बंदे आ गए और देख रहे हैं मैं बैंडाना पहना हूँ, मतलब भाई लोग हो गया क्या यार, थोड़ा कफ हो गया यार। तो कफ हो गया तो तू घर बैठता है रे इतनी ठंड में। इट वाज अगेन 7-8 डिग्रीज एंड फॉग, यू कांट इवन सी बियॉन्ड 3 meters। नहीं यार प्रैक्टिस करनी है तो करनी है यार अब। एंड आई हैड ऑर्गेनाइज इट राइट, एंड टिपिकली आई बिलीव दैट इफ आई ऑर्गेनाइज समथिंग, मी बैकिंग आउट इज द मोस्ट लीचर्ड थिंग टू नहीं करना, यू कांट डू दैट। मैं पहुंच गया एंड ट्रस्ट मी दिव्यांश, फ्रॉम दैट start point to the end point, my bandana was completely wet with mucus. I was coughing, I was sneezing. अब वो साइकिलिंग में आप ये थोड़ी रुकोगे यार जरा नाक क्लीन कर लो चलो। I just reached home somehow and my friends were cribbing like mad. We were planning to have lassi that day. मैंने कहा भैया लस्सी माफ कर दो, मैं साइकिलिंग कर ली बहुत है, तुम लोग पी लो 5 मिनट पी लो, जल्दी पी लो, घर जाते हैं। I want to go and have a hot cup of tea and all that. So somehow I managed that 60K. मैं चुपचाप घर चले गया and this kept on dragging on for another 3-4 days. I was not improving anyway. बात आ गई the night before the event. मैंने 2-3 कोचेस को पूछा कि भैया क्या करूं। कहते सवाल ही नहीं है, तुमको इतना बुरा कफ है, you seem to be running temperature, 1 hour of swimming, putting your head under water, if you cough in the water, you can have water going in your lungs and you can die. इतना डरा दिया उन्होंने। 2 कोचेस ने बोला कि मत करिए। फिर मेरे एक फ्रेंड को कॉल किया, रवि इज हिज नेम, वन ऑफ माय क्लोजेस्ट बडीज। तो कहता है देख भाई तू पागल आदमी है, मुझे पता है मेरे बोलने पे तू कुछ करने वाला है नहीं, तू करेगा अपने मन की, तो तू इतना कर कि सुबह जब उठता है तू आस्क योरसेल्फ मेंटली वेदर यू आर ओके। फिजिकल छोड़ दे, तू नहीं कर सकता है, फिजिकली यू आर नॉट रेडी, वेदर मेंटली यू आर ओके, बिकॉज अगर मेंटली यू आर ओके देयर इज अ वेरी गुड चांस दैट यू विल पुल थ्रू। उसके बाद क्या हालत होगी, we'll probably put you in a hospital for a week or so, but you will actually complete the event. Timing में होगा when you बोला ना, but you will not drop dead in middle of the event. You will not give up. वो है। मैंने चलो ठीक है, so पूरा gear wear ready किया, I got my cycling gear ready, साइकिल को neatly कार में decorate किया, early morning 3:30 we had to leave. I had to leave from the house. 5 o'clock we had the reporting time and I think 5:30 or 6 the event was supposed to start. So 3 o'clock का morning I woke up, 3-3.5 घंटे सोया होगा मैं, ज्यादा नींद नहीं होती है। Previous day to the event, nobody, I mean I never sleep more than 3 hours. My coach says बेटा 8:30 बजे डिनर करके 9 बजे lights out हो जाना चाहिए। मजाक कर रहा है यार, 11 बजे सोते हैं लोग।
Correct. Yes.
So by 11:30 I had slept. 3 o'clock I woke up, looked at my stupid face in the mirror. यार इतना प्रिपरेशन किया है ना, अभी जाके देख लेते हैं, यहीं पे तो है। मुझे कौन सा बॉम्बे की फ्लाइट लेनी है या पंजाब की फ्लाइट लेनी है कि भैया इतना खर्चा होगा, होटल में रहना हो, कुछ नहीं है। गाड़ी में जाएंगे, नहीं होगा तो गाड़ी में वापस आ जाएंगे, खत्म मामला। चलो लेट्स डू इट। Reached the place, got myself ready, 5:50 reporting time at the pool, Talkatora Stadium. I swear one of the best pools in the country, maybe one of the best in the world. Nice floodlights early in the morning. You beauty of early morning Delhi, you can't beat it.
Absolutely.
Flat water, pin drop, silence, कुछ लोग एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हैं, रेडी हो रहे हैं। मैंने कहा ये एक और चांस है अभी यार, सोच ले भाई करना है कि नहीं करना है, चल यार कर डालते हैं। मेरा टारगेट 55 मिनट्स का था, 1 लैप 2 लैप 1 स्ट्रोक 2 करते करते within 49 or 50 minutes I finished my swimming. 1-2 जगह थोड़ा लगा कि हर कफ जैसा हो रहा है, बट आई जम्प्ड आउट। मैंने कहा तो बड़ा सही हुआ, स्विमिंग हो गया, मतलब आई काउंटर्ड द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज ऑफ माउथ इन द वाटर। चेंज्ड इनटू माय साइकिलिंग गियर, साइकिल उठाई, शुरू किया। सो 90 किलोमीटर्स वी हैड अ 10 किलोमीटर ट्रैक अराउंड द स्टेडियम, तालकटोरा स्टेडियम का जो गार्डन का। वी हैड टू डू 9 राउंड्स। 5 राउंड तो बहुत बढ़िया चले, आई वाज डूइंग गुड टाइमिंग। मैंने कहा अरे तो रिकॉर्ड टाइम हो जाएगा, रिकॉर्ड कुछ नहीं होता है, अपने खुशी के लिए एक रिकॉर्ड टाइम। 6 राउंड हो गए। 6th राउंड एट द मिडल ऑफ द वे आई हैड अ डिस्टर्बिंग साउंड, देखा तो पीछे का टायर पंचर।
Crazy.
अब यार हम तो कोई प्रो साइक्लिस्ट थे नहीं, आई डिडंट हैव अ साइक्लिंग गियर, स्पेयर टायर, कुछ नहीं था। only option for me was to drag the cycle all the way to the start. So वही 5 किलोमीटर ड्रैग करके लेके आया उसको वापस। Fortunately they had great volunteer. जैसे उन्होंने देखा I'm dragging my cycle in, साइकिल उल्टाई, टायर में से ट्यूब निकाली, नई ट्यूब डाली, लगाई, go। ये तो सही है यार, कोई पंचर वंचर बनाना नहीं है, नया ट्यूब डाल दिया, निकला। 10 मीटर गया हूँगा मैं, 10 नहीं 20 मीटर गया हूँगा, a flat tire of the new tire, same पीछे वाला वही टायर वापस फ्लैट। ये क्या कमाल है यार, मतलब
क्रेजी।
वापस गया तो वापस क्यों आ गया भाई, नहीं करना है क्या? अरे यार फिर से टायर पंचर हो गया। कि भाई यार कोई बात नहीं, एक और ट्यूब लगा दिया उसने कि अब जा भाई। एंड दिस टाइम ही चेक्ड अगेन कि वो कई बार क्या होता है टायर के अंदर कुछ कील वील घुस गई होती है, दैट कुड बी द फॉल्ट। क्लीन कर दिया, कुछ नहीं है। गया 7th राउंड हो गया, 8th राउंड हो गया, 9th राउंड शुरू हो गया। मैंने कहा चलो यार ठीक है, बाय दिस टाइम आई हैड एनीवे फॉलन बिहाइंड ऑन टाइम। मैंने टाइम तो गया भाड़ में, पूरा करना है मेरे को। लाइक पीपल हु आर लाइक miles away behind me in my swimming, with people who had finished in like 125 130 were now ahead of me in cycle. इतना डिफरेंस आ गया था गैप में।
करेक्ट।
तो 9th राउंड के आई थिंक 6 किलोमीटर मार्क पे वही हुआ, तीसरा फ्लैट टायर। मैंने कहा ये तो बहुत हो गया। एंड बाय दिस टाइम इट वाज अराउंड 9:30 वी वर ऑन द रोड, रेगुलर ट्रैफिक वाज फ्लाइंग ऑन द रोड्स। धूप निकल आई थी, गर्मी थी, फ्रस्ट्रेशन हो रहा था। मैंने कहा मैं डीएनएफ वालों में से हूँ नहीं। मन किया यार, there was an auto rickshaw going, and all that I had to do was pick up my cycle, put it in the auto rickshaw, travel back to the main, change into my clothes, go home and have a nice aloo paratha. But I was like नहीं यार, ये इसमें मजा नहीं आएगा। मतलब I'll regret it for rest of my life कि साला मैं 500 मीटर दूर था फिनिशिंग पॉइंट से साइकिलिंग में, उसके बाद रनिंग करनी थी, that's another saga altogether, और मैंने छोड़ दिया। ये तो कैसे हुआ है? तो करके ले गया साइकिल पटकी, changed in my running shorts or whatever, and by that time it was I just had 2 hours left to finish my half marathon. 2 hours नहीं 3 घंटे थे, sorry 3 घंटे थे, which at that time my best time was 2 hours something.
Was, yeah.
3 घंटे हो जाना चाहिए, not a big deal, but mind you I was sick and tired, frustrated. My mind was not there. My physical abilities obviously were there, but mind was not there. किसी तरह walk run. By the time even the volunteers had moved out, so refreshment stalls had kind of elapsed. तो जहाँ पे पानी चाहिए पानी नहीं था, कुछ खाने के लिए नहीं था, मेरे personal stuff I had run out of it. 2 राउंड लगाने थे.
Correct.
8 hours and 40 minutes it was when I touched the finishing point. 9 hours of cut off. But मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था मैंने ओलंपिक में गोल्ड मेडल जीत लिया है। तो मैंने यही सोचा कि जब भी कोई फिनोमिनल चैलेंज आता है ना, स्टोरी बन जाती है। और हम लोग मर के, आई एम अ राइटर माई सेल्फ, स्टोरी बनाने में मेरी जान निकल जाती है।
करेक्ट।
टू क्रिएट एन आर्टिकल विद अ स्टोरी टेलिंग माइंड, it's difficult like hell, because look, I can't cook up stories. It has to come from within. And if I can actually have a real life scenario which can build into a story, I would go for it, man. I would go for it. My 50K ultra, I had not had a good preparation, and yet I went for it. At 8 kilometer mark, I had a bad fall. I had bruised my knee badly. I had twisted my ankle. Worst part was I only thought about the bruised knee. I did not know I have a twisted ankle. And I limped, run, walk for 42 kilometers, but I finished it in 8 hours and 30 minutes.
Wow.
It became a story. Now, I am not sharing this कि मैंने कुछ बड़ा काम किया. I am sharing this कि इसके बावजूद भी आप कर सकते हो. So if you don't have any of flat tires and if you don't have a broken ankle, फिर क्यों नहीं कर सकते, right? So that's the whole idea. So after the event was over, when we were chit-chatting, कुछ घास फूस मिल गए खाने को, कुछ सैंडविच आ गई, कुछ, and I was savoring it. यार एक बन मिल गया, एक दवा चवाई खाने, ड्राई बन। तो मैंने ऑर्गेनाइजर को पूछा, भाई यार थैंक्स अ लॉट भाई, तुम लोग ने इतना सही सपोर्ट किया, मेरे को ट्यूब दे दी। कहता है साहब आप कमाल के बंदे हो। अरे क्या कमाल के बंदे? कहता है 271 participants today in different events. You are the only one who had a flat tire.
Oh.
होती है ऐसी इवेंट में फ्लैट टायर।
Correct, definitely.
Event day, I was the only joker who had a flat tire. नहीं तो फिर होता है ना, हाँ यार, yeah, a lot of people complained, the track was bad, there were a lot of stones, कुछ वेदर अच्छी नहीं थी तो बहुत लोग बीमार पड़ गए, ऐसा कुछ मास होता है ना। उस दिन कुछ नहीं था। When I reached, people who had actually started with me, that like half an hour पहले finish, कुछ लोग तो घर चले गए थे। अरे मैं तो घर पे हूँ यार। तो अच्छा finish कैसे?
Probably the story has motivated me also to just go out there and go for a half Ironman. Doesn't matter if I lose or whatever. It's gonna be an experience to, it's gonna be worthwhile experience overall. That's what I feel, and probably I'll also have a story to tell after that.
See, everyone has a story. It's
Yeah.
all about putting it in a fashion, right? I've never said this before, but I'm going to say this. I always quote a beautiful line for writing. Stephen Pressfield, who's written an awesome book, The War of Art, has quoted this line: "The most difficult part of writing is sitting down to write. The most difficult part of taking part in an event is reaching at the event. Reaching it. प्रिपरेशन भी नहीं है, रीचिंग एट द इवेंट, पहुंच जाओ वहां पे। आई मीन कितनी बार मेरे मुंबई मैराथन के लिए मैं जब फ्लाइट लेके पहुंचता हूँ वहां पे, स्टे ओवरनाइट, सुबह सुबह उठते हैं, और मुंबई की वो गंदी वेदर, 88% ह्यूमिडिटी एट 5 o'clock इन द मॉर्निंग, वो ऑर्गेनाइजर मानते ही नहीं, उसको 3 बजे नहीं चालू करते, 4 बजे नहीं चालू करते, 5:30 बजे चालू करते हैं, विच मीन दैट बाय 9 o'clock when you're on Marine Drive, it's peak
hot.
heat.
Yeah.
And the hottest heat is hitting you at the back when you're on the stretch, and uska koi ilaj nahi hai. You
Correct.
have to just go there and do it.
Yeah.
But पहुंच जाओ, तुम सुबह पहुंच जाओ, किसी ना किसी तरह मन भर के आप एंड कर ही दोगे. Very
Right.
few people give up. The reason is the whole crowd is pushing you like anything. The whole embarrassment of going home at 8 o'clock and said, यार नहीं हुआ यार, नहीं करोगे आप.
Yes, definitely.
आपकी इतनी सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट आपको अलाउ करेगी नहीं कि आप नहीं करो. लग जाएगी तो भी दौड़ोगे. दिस फ्रेंड ऑफ माइन, ही हैड अ डीएनएफ अल्टीमेटली, बट उसने जो जान लगा दी, मेरी तरह गुड़गांव से आया था, एंड ही कुडंट फिनिश इट, बट द अमाउंट ऑफ एफर्ट ही पुट इन. द वन गाय हु फिनिश्ड इन 6 hours 5 minutes with blisters in his feet, and those blisters were paining him from the second hour onwards at all. So मुझे पता ही, he endured a lot of pain, and इसमें सबसे बड़ा डर ये रहता है ना यार, लाइफ लॉन्ग प्रॉब्लम हो जाए, और या कोई सर्जरी हो जाए जिसकी वजह से मैं 3 महीने के लिए बेड में पड़ा रहा हूँ. ऐसे हुए केसेस आते हैं. It's not that it's not possible, but that's the risk you're taking. Right? And once you have put yourself in it, so I'm saying just go for it, man. I mean, mentally ready हो तो बाकी सब खुदा देख ही लेगा.
Definitely, I agree with you absolutely over here, because even when it comes to podcasting, I'm also kind of new, and I was very nervous to dive into this whole new game of podcasting after recording solo videos, and I said, let's just go for it, let's see what happens, how things turn up, and finally I'm doing it, and hope it works out.
You're doing a fabulous job. You're doing a fabulous.
Thank you. Hopefully it turns out well. And on that note, I think I've heard this beautiful story from you about your half Ironman event and how you prepared for it. And you've done a lot of ultra runs, and you are a regular runner, and you achieved a lot of things. You're an angel investor, TEDx speaker, and business leader as well. How do you train your brain? So I'm not sure if there is any training you do for your brain to achieve so many things in your life. Do you do something for that? Train your brain, something separate which we don't know, or which you would like to share?
So I think the straightforward answer is it's not happened overnight, and it's not happened in a planned manner as the word train you are talking about. I have learned it the hard way. I've learned it by trying different things out and seeing what works, what does not work. One activity which I can swear by is meditation, right? When you talk about train the brain, there's no better activity than meditation or mindfulness to help you be more aware about what you're doing, be more aware about what you can do, be more cognizant about what you should do, and be more happy about what you actually do. So aligning yourself with the expectations of the activity and not getting confused or not getting disoriented or discouraged by the chatter around you which is saying mat kar, pagal hai, mar jayega, lag jayegi. That's the most difficult part. How do you ignore your loved one saying mat kar? How do you ignore your own mind saying mat kar? And mind is vicious, right? Mind will work against you till you overpower it. The day you overpower it, it will support you. So that transition is a tricky one, right?
Yeah.
How do you control your inner voice to turn from negative to positive? Inner voice.
Yeah.
वो अंदर ही अंदर घूम रहे हैं thoughts, right? कि यार नहीं हो पाएगा, अरे हो जाएगा, नहीं हो पाएगा, हो पाएगा। तो उस डिबेट में आपको आर्ग्यूमेंट्स चाहिए, आर्ग्यूमेंट्स के लिए आपको रीजंस चाहिए, रीजंस के लिए आपको नॉलेज चाहिए, नॉलेज के लिए आपको बुक्स चाहिए, बुक्स के लिए आपको टाइम चाहिए। वो टाइम नहीं है मेरे पास, एंड दैट्स द बिगेस्ट मिथ वी लिव विद, कि हमारे पास टाइम नहीं। द फैक्ट इज टाइम है हमारे पास, हम उसको सही जगह पे डालते नहीं है, और डालते इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि हम दिमाग नहीं लगाते। दिमाग है, यूज नहीं करते हैं, टाइम है, वेस्ट करते हैं। तो अगर आप दिमाग को यूज करो और टाइम को वेस्ट ना करो, तो दुनिया की ऐसी कोई एक्टिविटी नहीं है जो आप नहीं कर सकते विथ योर all your daily schedules lying intact. Waking up early in the morning, number one. Giving time for yourself and saying, this is my time, it's for me, nobody has the right on it. That's the start point. Because the moment you are devoting 2.5, 3, 4, 5 hours to yourself every day is transformational. Because पहले हमको लगे 5 घंटे, oh my god, man. I wake up at 5:15, 5:30, 5:45. I had my morning cup of tea. I've done my journaling. 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, 1 hour of exercise. 7 to 7:30 meditation. 7:30 to 8 o'clock reading the newspaper. 8 to 9 o'clock writing something. 9 to 9:30 breakfast. 9:30 I go for shower. 10 o'clock I'm at work. From 10 to 6 I can work. I got 5 hours for myself. अब बोलो इसमें क्या नहीं कर सकते आप, right? You can read, and reading is very essential. I mean, अगर आपसे रनिंग नहीं होती है तो प्लीज आप रीडिंग कर, आपकी गुडनेस वहीं पे आ जाएगी, right? Because the kind of stuff you read makes you become more self-aware. You realize that you're not utilizing your maximum potential, so you will pick up something else. आप गिटार बजाना शुरू कर दोगे, गाने गाना शुरू कर दोगे, गोल्फ खेलना शुरू कर दोगे, कोई एक्टिविटी जिसमें आप अपने आप को ढूंढ सको, right? Something which helps you immerse and be happy with yourself, right? I mean, that beautiful quote that someone has said, that if you're alone and you're bored, you're in a very boring company. So stop blaming others कि ऐसा नहीं, बोरिंग है, वो बोरिंग है, बोरिंग तू है भाई, क्योंकि तुझे मजा नहीं आ रहा है, उसको तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, राइट? तुझे प्रॉब्लम है, तो गलती तेरे में है, राइट? गलती उसमें नहीं है. So, for me, multiple activities is purely based on the fact that I don't say no to anything. कल तू बोले ना यार दिव्यांश, हेतल यार, there is a beautiful trek here, चलना है. मैं first answer will be yes. My second answer will be कहाँ जाना है, कितना टाइम है, अच्छा थोड़ा बहुत यार डेट आगे पीछे हो सकती है, हो सकती है यार, थोड़ा महंगा ट्रिप है यार, थोड़ा सस्ता वाला ढूंढते हैं, ढूंढ सकते हैं यार. तो what happens when I said yes, you are willing to give me answers to all these things. कि छोटी ट्रिप हो सकती है, डेट चेंज हो सकती है, सस्ती हो सकती है, 4 लौंडे और साथ में जा सकते हैं क्या? You are giving me more variations of the same question. हेतल ट्रैक पे चलना है, मैंने सही भी बोल दिया हेतल ट्रैक पे नहीं चलना है, नहीं यार नहीं जा सकता, खत्म मामला, राइट? आई एम कंप्लीटली क्लोज टू ट्रैक्स. तू आज के बाद मुझे ट्रैक के बारे में पूछेगा ही यार, ये हेतल को पूछा ट्रैक का, ना बोल दिया. अब मैंने तेरे से 5 सवाल किए, तो यू हैव गॉट अ मल्टीट्यूड ऑफ डिफरेंट पैरामीटर्स which fit in well. So next time you'll come to me, Hetal, I have this trek which is exactly for you. मैं ना बोल ही नहीं पाऊंगा, because now you have considered all those things which will work. So that's exactly how you need to look at every activity and see the multiple overlaps which are going on. Yeah.
Because I all through this conversation, I was noticing that I have seen a lot of I follow a lot of influencers and people like Elon Musk, say, and others who are doing really well in their careers and all that. They're entrepreneurs in their areas, and they have this habit, this schedule that they follow from morning till evening, right? So I want to go back a little bit and just want to know a little bit about the trigger. What triggered this? What you wanted to achieve things in life, and what was the trigger for you to have form this habit and follow this schedule? There must have been something which triggered this in you. There was a trigger for me as well years ago in 2008 when I was very unfit, and suddenly I started did running one day, and things changed for me from then. What was your trigger, as in to reach this point in your life? Was there some trigger?
So I think I wish I had one answer to it, but so my running story was happen chance, and my running got me exposed to a different life. Um, Made me start looking at myself and say I could have done much more. I'd spent 10 years in Japan. Japanese are crazy about running. And can you believe that I didn't even run once out there for 10 years? I didn't run. And now I'm like dying कि कब मुझे टोक्यो मैराथन में दौड़ने का चांस मिले. नहीं मिलने वाला है चांस यार. 10 साल में बैठा था तब मैंने कुछ नहीं किया. अब कहाँ से लॉटरी लग जाएगी मेरी? I have to work my way towards it, right? When it comes to reading, I think so you mentioned about Elon Musk, and I would probably call out Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. They are my apostles as far as reading is concerned. And an interesting element they have is having blank spaces in their calendar. They intentionally keep blank space in their calendar, which is their time. So what I talked about in the morning time, they keep it during office hours, right? मतलब 15 minute thinking time ले लिया, 20 minute thinking time. That allows you more space from a time management perspective. And in reading, I was like, मेरे 7 जन्म मैं 7 पुश्ते भी मेरी बिल गेट्स और जेफ बीजोस को बीट नहीं कर पाएंगे एनी पैरामीटर ऑफ, बट दे रीड 52 बुक्स अ ईयर. तो मैंने कहा इस पैरामीटर पर मैं इनको बिल्कुल बीट कर दूंगा. सो दैट्स हाउ आई एंडेड अप विद अ 100 book journey. And the intent of reading a lot was to force myself to read a lot of variety of stuff. See, अगर मैं बोलूं 10 बुक पढ़नी है ना, I'll be very selective. I'll be like, हाँ ये पढ़ लेते हैं, वो पढ़ लेते हैं. फिर वो 11वीं बुक आएगी ना तो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आ जाएगा कि यार ये कहाँ से आ गया. बट अगर मुझे 100 बुक पढ़नी है तो इट टेक्स मी अ लॉन्ग टाइम टू से नो टू अ बुक. आई कीप ऑन, हाँ ये भी पढ़नी है, हाँ ये भी पढ़नी है. 100 करनी है ना यार, मतलब इट टेक्स टाइम टू रीच 100 टाइटल्स. And I think reading is instrumental in the transformation. The more I read, the more I understand a lot of things. My motivational talks, I get content for reading. My blogs have my content for reading. My inspiration to do a PhD came from my reading. I realized that there's a lot which I have not learned, and there's a lot which I can actually learn if I go for a structured learning course. So that's how it came out. See, it's you don't have to have a eureka moment. The reason I'm happy that I didn't answer that, because public बोलेगी यार हम भी वेट करते हैं ना यार. हेतल का एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन पॉइंट आया था, दिव्यांश का एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन पॉइंट आएगा, हमारे भी आएगा तब देख लेंगे यार. अभी चलो यार चाय पीते हैं.
right absolutely,
because we're not going to look back and say हाँ यार मेरे ऐसे कोई आया था क्या, अरे 2 साल पहले आ गया यार, अभी टाइम नहीं है, 2 साल पहले ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आया. नहीं होगा, राइट?
नहीं होगा.
वो होना होता तो हो गया होता. बिकॉज ये चीजें बाहर से नहीं आती, अंदर से ही आती है.
अंदर से
वो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन जब आना है वो आपको पता चल जाएगा. उसके लिए आप वेट मत करो, खुद बनो, क्रिएट दोस अपॉर्चुनिटीज के ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आए.
Correct.
Sign up for a half Ironman where you'll have a flat tire and you'll say that was my transformation.
Yeah, great story.
If you sit at home, you'll not have a flat tire. It's impossible to have a flat tire when the cycle is sitting at home.
Exactly. That's absolutely true. And from that, I wanted to know a little bit more about how did you manage when COVID hit, because running was off, cycling was off, these events were off. How did you manage in the last 2 years where COVID was at its peak?
So I think if I look at 2020, which was a real bust year as far as running activity was concerned, March, April were bad. April mid onwards, my apartment allowed walking around within the apartment was fine. So I did rigorous brisk walking within the apartment. In first 2 weeks of May, I started running within the apartment, but I was not enjoying it. Last week of May onwards, I started running outside. सुबह निकल जाता था, ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम नहीं आती थी. 5K, 7K, 10K. So I gradually increased my mileage and used to run very selectively. I was never a 4 days a week runner. I was always like a 1 day or 2 days a week runner. I conserve my running and say pace runs on Wednesday and long endurance runs on weekends, Saturday or Sunday. That's all. So I would orient myself towards conserving my energy. Conserve तो नहीं होती, बोलने का भी अच्छा लगता है. Conserving my energy कि हाँ उस दिन don't put my best effort. Rest of the days is mostly strength workout and strength training. So I followed this rigorous schedule and I was able to peak to reach a a full marathon, virtual full marathon MCM run, which I did in Gurgaon in I think first week of December or late November time. And of course, I did the virtual ADHM around the same time. So from May onwards, I started gradually increasing my mileage. I did a solo run, no virtual, solo practice full marathon in September end or October, all by myself.
Right.
Took
Wow.
me some time of 440, but with nobody around, no friend, nobody, akela dauda tha. That gave me the confidence कि हाँ अगर if the situation is better, if there is a virtual run, if there are timings, there are volunteers around to help or whatever, so it'll be better, and it turned out to be better. So from 440 in the practice, I did a 411 in the MCM full marathon. So I think COVID has definitely pulled back a lot of people. We know that Chinese crazy guy who ran a full marathon in his apartment and all those things. मैं टेरेस पे बहुत दौड़ा था. I ran a 3K, 7K, 10K. I think 7K किया था मैंने. I think 7K के ऊपर 7K में दौड़ा था at a good pace on the terrace.
Exact same. So yeah, I think the terrace was the savior over there. I ran 7 on the terrace once. So yeah, back and forth. But yeah, that was a great experience. You mentioned about strength training. A little, can you shed a little more light on strength training? Because a lot of people who are listening also, they just talk about running, cycling. They don't focus on strength training. But I feel that I've discovered that strength training is essential.
In fact, strength training after a certain time in your running journey is more important than your running. Yeah. Because you need to have a holistic growth. I'm glad this video is not showing my paunch. See, strength is important from your upper body core perspective. I do planks, push-ups, sit-ups, bit of yoga, regular. If you have access to a gym, or if you can have a mini gym in the house, doing weight training is very important.
Yeah.
So non-aerobic training, which basically involves building your upper body, is extremely important. And at some point in time, even in your runs, it's your upper body strength which helps you to propel yourself forward horizontally, and pushes your body further up, and the thrust required by the body for every step is lesser and lesser as you have more muscular mass, which is helping you to guide your body forward as well. So yeah, 35-40 minutes of strength training 3 to 4 days a week is a must. Challenge your body, skipping, jumping, a multitude of activities. Yoga is the best. I mean, our kuch nahi to yoga kar lo aap. There are a lot of asanas which can help you to sustain yourself. I'm a big fan of planks. My personal record is 4.5 minutes.
Wow.
And I see the difference. जब मैं plank करने की हालत नहीं होती, मुझे पता है मेरे running में भी impact दिखता है मेरे को. मेरे day to day life में भी दिखता है. Reverse is also true. अगर 4.5-5 मिनट का प्लान कर लो तो I'm like, लाओ क्या खिलाना है, खिला दो. जो करना है कर लूंगा मैं.
Correct. I think mixing up the workouts is essential to actually put off the boredom which comes with running also, and
very true. नहीं, it's important यार. नहीं तो यार आज टेम्पो करना है, कल हिल रिपीट करना है, कल ये करना है. रनिंग के अलावा भी लाइफ भी होती है. तो that helps.
On that note, sir, can you tell me 2-3 habits you swear by in your daily life, which you can't do without, and just helps your productivity go up every day? 2-3 habits you swear by.
Journaling, exercise, and meditation.
Awesome.
My day goes really bad if I don't do this.
All right. Then what is your advice to somebody who is looking to get into, say, endurance running, cycling, or go for a triathlon? Great.
Honestly, people can WhatsApp me and call me.
Yeah, sure. I'll link your handles in the description so that anybody can reach out to you anytime for advice. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, sir. So, 2-3 rapid fire questions. And I think
I thought that started. I was answering as if these were rapid fires.
Not very in-depth questions, but yeah, direct questions. So, exercising in the morning versus exercising in the evening. What do you prefer?
Morning, any day. If swimming is there, I have enjoyed swimming more in the evening, and I've had routines where I did an hour and a half of workout in the morning, and I did an hour and a half of swimming in the evening. And swimming is very nourishing in the evening. The only problem is that it picks up your metabolism like anything. But रात को नींद late आती है. That's one
Right.
challenge. If you have your schedule permits you in.
Great. So, and since you're a runner, where do you prefer running? Running on the beach versus running on the hills? I won't take up Delhi right now because since you're already in Delhi.
Look, beach and hills are comforts which, if you're living there, then it's fine. I mean, once in a while, अगर मुझे जाने को मिल रहा है तो then it's more like travel, right? So, I think running on the beach is much nicer. Traveling to the mountains is much nicer.
Because I can relate to the Juhu beach because I've run a lot in Mumbai during my MBA days. So yeah, it's amazing. All right. I think this one it's an obvious question, but I'll still ask: running versus cycling versus swimming. Out of the three, which one you'll choose?
That's a very tough one. It's like son or daughter. I think cycling is number 3. Not because I don't like cycling, it's just that I don't do it as often. I would say running and then swimming, just because I've run more than what I've swam so far.
All right. And is there any one person you follow when it comes to running? You mentioned Murakami. He's the writer and he's also a runner. So
I don't follow any runner.
Right.
I follow myself. I read a lot of books. I've read a lot of books by different runners, but honestly, I try and capture the essence of what they're telling me, and then I create my own theologies. Because if you follow someone, then you're constantly following someone.
Correct.
The day you decide to chart your own course, you'll see a rapid improvement in yourself.
Wow. All right, sir. I think on that note, I'll close this episode of the podcast, the fitness podcast, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking in depth about your endurance sport experience, your corporate experience, your whatever you achieved in life, your habits, everything, and enlightening for me and the listeners at the same time. And I wish you all the best for your book you've published recently, and hope to meet you in person as well sometime soon. And we'll definitely talk more about endurance sports and other things.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity. It's been wonderful talking. And I always believe that talking to someone helps me strengthen my own conviction and belief, and it definitely seeds ideas for some new ones as well. So look forward to the podcast, and more than welcome to do it anytime. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.